Hey folks on the conference, can you hear me? This is Paresh. Just type in your response here. Awesome. Thank you guys for acknowledging. Really appreciate that. And I'm sure you can see the screen now. Okay, beautiful. So it's about 2 o'clock now. We should get started because Theo has a hard stop at the end of the hour. So let me just go through the slides that we have for introducing Theo and the other precursor announcements that we have. So here we go. My name is Paresh Motiwala. I'll be your moderator for the day. And for those who don't know, the past DBA virtual chapter has a Twitter handle now. So please go ahead and tweet about this session today and also tweet about Theo. I have his Twitter handle at the end of the slide deck here. So today's topic is performance troubleshooting made easier with the help of new features in SSMS by Theo Belli. And so a few things about PASS. If you are looking for a job, just click on the link pass.org/careers. You get a whole bunch of stuff there. If you want to hire, you get the same exact thing through PASS. A lot of resources out there for getting a job or giving a job. If you are looking for streaming access to all PASS Summit 2017 content, use the link that has been given here. We will be uploading this for you at the end of the presentation by Theo. And if you are looking for a discounted price to the 2018 PASS Summit, please go ahead and use us so that we also get $50 for that, and you get $150 discount. There are lots of PASS virtual groups around the globe, so you can become a member of any of them, including Russian or infrastructure or security and so on. So the upcoming SQL Saturdays are given here in US and Canada. I do believe Theo and I are going to be speaking at Rochester in New York in about a month's time from now. So, and join a local chapter. It really helps you get a lot of face-to-face networking. In-person learning is there, opportunities to present and share. And wait, if you don't have a local group, start one. We can definitely help you seed one group and tell you the pros and cons and how to go about doing it. And to do that, use ce@sqlpass.org. Interested in volunteering? Of course. Please go ahead and volunteer. And if you do phenomenally well, or if you want to nominate somebody for an outstanding volunteer award, go ahead and email them to this particular thing. So you can also discover us on YouTube using this one, and the PASS membership is free. There's a lot of virtual chapters, as we spoke earlier, and it also helps you download a lot of supplemental material that makes your learning experience much easier and better. Go ahead and connect with PASS on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. Pass.org is the name of the website. @SQLPass is their Twitter handle. The hashtag is SQLPass. And if you're looking for any help, hashtag is SQL help. It really helps you a lot. So about the presenter, Theo. Theo is an accomplished technical leader with proven track record of success. His experience includes 3 major business sectors: financial industry, e-commerce, and healthcare. He's a Microsoft and MongoDB certified data professional with over 11 years of IT experience, both on premise and cloud. hands-on experience in managing large database projects, including large data migration, complex process design, testing, and deployment. Performance tuning, long-term capacity planning. Teob is currently working at GMO LLC as a DBA lead, focusing on automation, improving and streamlining operational workflow, plan and prepare for cloud migration. He's a regular speaker at various SQL user groups and SQL Saturday events. His Twitter handle is as given below. Teob, I couldn't resist giving out this one trivia. Last year when I was looking for a job, I actually applied for a place where Teob used to work, and they said, Paresh, we really want somebody of Teob's caliber. And they turned down my candidature. So Teob is definitely a great guy, and he is not shy to share his knowledge. So without much ado, I will pass it on to Teob now. Teob, you all set, my friend?
I guess I need to get the presenter. Okay, great.
Yep, I made you the presenter now.
Can you see my screen right now? The
yes,
first slide?
Yes, sir.
Great.
Yes, sir.
Great. Okay.
And I'll be on mute. So,
sure.
Okay.
Sure. Okay.
And I'm monitoring the questions here too.
Thanks everybody for joining. I know it's not easy to join in the middle of the day if you're in East Coast because it's almost 2 p.m. on a work day. But I do appreciate that, and I also commend you because it take some effort on your side to make a choice to come out of your work schedule for an hour, adjust your meetings, and trying to learn some new stuff. So hopefully I'll try to make a good use of your time. And as you can see, the topic we'll be talking about new features in Management Studio. Paresh talked about a lot about myself. I'm going to cut all those. One thing I'll tell you is one of the items here at the end of the giving back, and I really encourage you to use SQL help hashtag. I was so glad that Glenn Berry, actually, he works for SQL Skills. Many years ago, I was at Chicago, and he kind of encouraged me to open a Twitter account. I'm very low presence in social media, other than LinkedIn. And I'm really glad that I did it because people like Alan Hart, Aaron Bertrand, Paul Randall, they will respond to your question for free. Other good platform I encourage you to explore is dba.stackexchange.com, because in Twitter you really cannot post much stuff like your T-SQL code, some pictures, and detailed explanation is hard to put in Twitter. DBA Stack Exchange is another platform. People like Paul Randall, I don't see him active, like Aaron Bertrand, and a bunch of Brent Ozer and his crew. They are always there. Joe Abish, they answer questions for you, and it's all free, very high quality. Actually, Paul White, he's one of the founder of dbastackexchange.com, and he's still a moderator. I'll highly encourage you to explore those. I do answer questions there, and I do ask questions when I get stuck. So that's one point out of this slide. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about SSMS release cycle, and it will be almost 45 minutes of demo, no slides. But at the end, what I did is for each item that I'm going to talk about, I did put a slide. So if somebody doesn't want to run my demo and read through the comments and stuff, you can also go through slides, but I'm not going to go through it. I have about 25 slides at the end, and I put those as under the heading of additional slides. So SSMS release cycle. What happened is, as you can see how SQL Server used to be released. If you look at the cycle, SQL 2000, 2005, it's a 5-year gap, then 2008, and then R2, 12, 14, 16, and now 17. So it was a 5-year, then it's a 3-year, then it's a 2-year, and then now it's going to be every year. So what Microsoft realized is for a tool like SSMS, which is part and parcel of data professionals, developers, DBAs. We all use it. I know some people will only use Visual Studio. Maybe they are code developers, but they could not release a feature as fast as they want. They could not do a quick fix whenever they wanted. And it was tied up to the SQL Server binary, so you needed a license or a MSDN account to load the to download the binaries, and then you have to choose what button to click just to get the SSMS because you don't want the full SQL Server engine. So all these problems. So in SQL Server 2016, before when they're releasing that, they decided they're going to decouple SQL Server Management Studio from core SQL Server engine. So it's a standalone product. You do not need any license key. There is nothing. You can just go to online SSMS download and you can download it. Currently, I looked at every minor versions in 17. It's about 2 months, and don't hold me on that time. It can change. So, and if somebody has a compelling reason that I still didn't find one, that no, I still need 2008, I still need 2012, 14, you can have all those versions. You can have those side by side. But I highly encourage you to download 17.4, which is the current version, and you start using it. So there are 2 slides like this. What I did, I know these questions will come when I go through every feature, and I can remember it in my head. I'm not that brainy, otherwise, I wouldn't be probably, talking to you. So I'm really not that smart. I can remember all this. So people will ask like, okay, when is this feature was released? Can I use it in 2012? Can I use it in 2016? Can I use it in 2014? So what I said is all these features that you see on here on the left side, the earliest version you can use it with this SQL versions. But that doesn't mean that these features are released with SQL 12 SP14. They were probably released with SQL Server 2016 or 2017, but they were backported to some of the features or backported to older versions. Give you a perfect example. Vulnerability assessment was just announced during SQL Pass at 2017. So of course they didn't work on it when SQL Server 2008 was out. It is just it can only work with SSMS 17.4, but all previous versions are backported to this. That's what I meant. And then when you see the rightmost column, here I have SSMS required. Now I did not put SSMS version here like 17.1, 16.3, 16.4 because I really strongly believe you should just use 17.4, the latest one. And that's why I even didn't bother to put all the minor versions. So when I say new SSMS required, it doesn't mean that you absolutely need 17.4, maybe 17.1, maybe 16.3, or other versions will work. But I strongly think that you should use 17.4. And I would encourage you or request you, if you see any of my data is wrong, please send me a tweet or send me an email so I can fix it. And there are, okay, there's another slide. So it's 2 of these. Same, I'm not going to read this because we're going to go through all of these features one by one as long as time permits. So we're going to move to demo. And from here on, probably about 45 minutes we'll be spending on demo. So I'm not going to run this. The first one, what I did is, just before I'm using 17.4 and SQL Server 2017 CU3 for all my demo. And what I did is I downloaded AdventureWorks backup from GitHub. This is Microsoft's official sample server location from now going forward. So I put a link here, you can download this. And I also used a query that was written by Adam Mechanic, and it's on this URL to create 2 bigger table. And if you look here, These are big product and big transaction history. Those will be created by this script. So I already ran this to save time, and so I'm going to close this. Performance dashboard was a report that was available for us to download as a RDL file, and we could save it in our reporting service, and we could see it. It started in SQL Server 2012, and a lot of people did that because it was cool. But a lot of people said, I don't have SSRS in my shop, and I don't deal with SSIS, and I don't know how to download a RDL file and upload it in my environment, and then configure the connection strings and all that. So what Microsoft did now, built in, if we go to server, and if you go to reports, standard report, performance dashboard. So it's built in for you into the SSMS, and what this gives us is a lot of information here. Gives you your CPU utilization, any requests if it's waiting for any resource, your current activity, and if you see here, I think most of the data professionals have some kind of query. They say they can look up their expensive queries by CPU, read, writes, duration, and whatnot, but it's all here. How many traces are running, how many databases you have, how many missing index warning you have, and then your word size, stats, latches. So you can explore this in your own time, but I'll highly encourage you to use it. If you are in a crunch time, you quickly need something, you can't find your query, or you don't have one ready, there are a lot of information you can get from this. And activity monitor was there before, and but there is a new item that was added in activity monitor with the new SSMS. So it's same again. You go to here and open your activity monitor. So those of you who are using activity monitor, you probably are used to the first 4 windows. So this is a brand new one, active expensive queries. This is added recently. What this does, this gives me any queries that is running right now, and I really could not find a definition of what is expensive query. I'm still looking for it. See what are the metrics they're using behind the scene to qualify for active expensive queries. So what we can do is, I just wrote a batch file, which is going to add 5 clients, and they're just going to do some selects in a loop from AdventureWorks. And what we should see, that those 5 should show up in here in any minute. As you can see, the batch request is going up a little bit here. Your words are creeping up here. CPU is showing a little bit. Okay, so we can come back and see what, when it shows the queries right here. I was expecting it to show, okay. Okay, now you can see it here. And so anytime if you have a problem, somebody is complaining, something is slow or something is not finishing. Yes, I highly recommend you to use Add Mechanics SP, who is active. I use it every day, day in, day out. But if somebody doesn't have that set up, you don't have right order by, and you're not sure how you want to look at it, because here you can come and you can really sort this by, any way you want, by database name, your read writes, counts, and your CPU time, everything. So I'm going to close this. So I clicked another batch file to stop those, and this should go away anytime. Yep, those are gone. So vulnerability assessment. Those of you went to SQL Pass. I don't know if you attended the session. I did, and it was announced there. This is not a comprehensive security control tool, I would say. I want to make it clear. You do need new SSMS, but it worked with SQL Server 2008 and every version. This is a still part database. You can only access one database by one database, and it doesn't do a whole instance. And you can create your own baseline. So once you do the assessment once, and you see there are some red flags, some warnings, you can say that, okay, this warning is okay for my database, I'm aware of it, and this is my baseline. So next time it's not going to flag that. But if you want to use the same baseline for multiple databases, I'm sure you know we all manage hundreds or thousands of databases. Today there is not an automation tool or there is not a template that you can deploy, but they are working on it. You have to copy it manually to other folders. And I also wrote some notes, what are the permissions you need, so when you get the code, you can look at it by yourself. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to, just for demo purpose, I'm saying add the member, guest member, add guest as a member of these two roles in AdventureWorks database. And then you go to AdventureWorks.
There are 3 or 4 quick questions. One of them is saying, can you please show again 2 URLs for the Git and add a mechanic?
Yes, all slides and code will be sent to Sharon, and she's going to share it probably in 2-3 days. And
Yes.
I'm not going to make any change. I will not remove any URL from there, so you can get it there. But I will open it one more time if somebody want to, take a quick picture. But all of this will be available for you in next 2-3 days.
And also, while they are looking at this, there's somebody else who said, do you have experience trying the MS SQL Operation Studio that you can share in comparison to SSMS features?
I do. I did tweet about it a few times, but because of the time constraint, as you saw my initial list,
correct.
I would not go there now because that can open a whole different conversation. But if there are specific questions on a specific feature, if somebody sends it to me, I'll be glad to research and reply back. And if I cannot do it, I know Brent Ozer and a couple of other folks are extensively looking at that. I can definitely find the answer for whoever is asking that question.
Okay, and then last one is that apparently 17.x has a bug that you can't see an SSIS server using 17.x. You need 16.x. Is that true?
I'm using 17.4. I'm not aware of that bug. So if somebody has a problem, they should probably go to 17.3 at least. Other than all the features I'm showing, I think vulnerability assessment is one you cannot use without 17.4. There's the availability group latency. You cannot use that without 17.4, but whatever I'm showing, 90% you should probably be able to get by 17.3. And you can have 2 versions side by side, of course not 17.3 and 4, but you can just have 7.3, and then when that gets fixed, you can upgrade it.
Sure, please continue.
Yeah. Okay. So we introduce this vulnerability. Right now we go here, AdventureWorks, and then we go to task, we say vulnerability assessment and scan for vulnerability. So by default, this is the location it saves your files. And it's a JSON file. You can go and look at it, or you can change your location. So I'm just going to keep it default. Great. So as you can see, it already did it check, 9 failed. I'm not going to go through all. So I'll just show you one, the one we just created purposefully, right? So, and the best thing is you can even, they even give you the query that they are running to check it for you. So if somebody says, I don't want to ping this GUI, you can even save these queries and it will actually show you exactly what the mess that I created. And then if you go down more, of course I added this to I know, it gives you the T-SQL to fix it. So I have a choice. I can fix it, or I can say this is my baseline. Okay, I want this, and I approve this. So next time when you run, this is not going to show up anymore. But for the sake of it, let's clean this up. And so just so we know, this was our item number 1020. So this was the second one. And it will keep both files. As you can see now, it's reduced from 9 to 6. One more item I just want to show you, and I'm not going to take any action on this. I think I like it a lot, especially if you are working in an environment that you have personal information of people. This is, and you can get the query and you can run it. It's pretty much telling you that you have these columns, and they're just looking at column name and taking a wild guess, based on the name. They think that these columns has data that should not be exposed, or there should be more secured. Let's put it that way. And they give you a list of columns, which I think is pretty cool. If you get a new database, if you're joining in a place that you're new, you don't have time to go through all this, you can just take this query and run it. And then they give you some text here at the bottom, some links, and some readout that what you can do and what are your options to fix this. And they are still working on it. If you go books online, you'll see a lot of comments. I have few comments to the program manager. They are actively working on it. They are looking for feedback, and they want to improve on this. So if you are using it, you have things that you want to add on, you should definitely give them feedback. So next we'll be talking about Extended Events Profiler. So Extended Event came out, in 2012. Really, it came out that you can, was a wide adoption. But since there are a lot of people, I attended a lot of sessions, a lot of talk, the people always complain that, okay, I have to, there is no profiler, right? Before there was a profiler, we could go there, we could select our events, and there's nothing similar for extended event. So after a lot of complaint, a lot of people asking for it, finally, Microsoft released Extended Event Profiler built into the SQL Server Management Studio. And I have some notes here. Sorry, I'm in the wrong. So this is now available from SQL 2012, but you do need a new version of SQL Server Management Studio. I also put that what permissions you need to run just this tool. And for your info, standard is a superset of T-SQL. What I'm trying to say is T-SQL has some events that is already in standard, and standard has few more than what T-SQL has. So if you're running standard, you do not need to run T-SQL. T-SQL has less event. So you want to look at the events and decide which one you want to run. Now, if we come here, extended event sessions. So before you get only this 4, with new Management Studio, you get these 2 profilers. So these are just templates. So watch me now. If I say launch this session, and you cannot save these sessions, you can just watch live. And now, as soon as I did that, if we come here, you will see a new session. it's called quick session started, right? It got created. Now if we stop this, this is not going to go away. It just gets stopped automatic. So next time this session is here. Now the good part is you can modify this session and save it. So next time when you click this, your modified session is going to run. To give you an example, what I did here, I took that session, I scripted it out, and I only added this line. I said, I also want to save it, because sometimes if you have a busy system, you are watching live, you really cannot make a sense out of it. Yeah, once it's done, you can then load it in a table, you can do some filtering, but I want to save it in a disk. So I took that exact same definition and I just said, I want to change the target. And this time, once I run this, it's running the same thing, but if you look at my C drive, there's a new session created. Now somebody might say, okay, I want to add more events and more filters. That's okay. But I thought I'm just going to keep this session as is, and I'll totally create a new one with a different name. So I said modified, just for the demo's sake, so you can see it. And what I did here, I said I want a duration. So I want everything over 1 second duration. And I still send it to my C drive with a different name. But I'm using the same definition, I'm modifying it. So I just added 2 more lines. Now if I run this, and now we come here, we should see a new session. This is the one. And if I start this, now both sessions are running. And if we take a look at my C drive, now you'll see that this is the modified and new session, and this is the template session that I added a target. And I didn't make it more complicated, but you can do whatever you want. But you now have a built-in one, and you have a starting point to build your own extended event sessions. I named this as infamous CX packet, but I'll get there later on. Before I get there, I want to show you a bunch of stuff that was released mostly in SQL Server 2012, and there are 4 more in 2016, but they were backported to 2014 SP2. But all of these need one of the new management studio. And when I say new, it's really 16 or 17. And as I said, I didn't want to pinpoint to the minor versions. I put this chase flag for a purpose. It's nothing to do with the performance, just to show you a demo. So be careful, don't use it in any other system unless you know what it is doing. So I turned on actual execution plan. A lot of the new features in Management Studio also include show plan, and a bunch of stuff is added into show plan to make query tuning, performance problem troubleshooting, whatever you call this, to make it easier for us. So if we look at from the list here, actually I cannot drill down here. So query time stats. This is something was not there before. This is added brand new here. So right now what this gives us, it gives us our CPU time and elapsed time right here. And why this is beneficial. When I ran this query, I'm sure, yeah, you can go here and you can say, okay, it needed 20 seconds. but actually how much of that 20-second the CPU did work on this query, and how much I was waiting for other resources, right? I really don't know just by looking at this. I have no way to know. But now, if I go here, what we're looking at, I can say, okay, my CPU time was 6 seconds, and my elapsed time is close to 20 seconds. So what happened to the other 14 seconds? I was waiting for it, right? I was waiting for something, which we don't know yet, but we'll look at that. Next is the wait steps. So the best part, now it shows me the top 10 waits. And I don't know why Microsoft did this in a ascending, means the shorter wait is at the top and the longer wait is at the bottom. So somebody actually complained about it, and they promised to fix it in near future. We'll talk about CX packet later on, so keep that aside. And there's about 13 seconds. So you can see here that async network IO took almost 8.6 seconds. There are a couple of other waits, 277 milliseconds. And these are minor, but there were also CX packet waits. So I know all of us can look at a server aggregate wait since the last reboot. You can turn on extended event trace for a session ID to look at session specific waits, but this is all built in here, so you don't have to go anywhere. Yes, there is a DMV was released in 2016, which I'll show you. You can capture wait types, but this will show maximum 10, and Microsoft decided purposely to not show some of the wait types that are really not actionable by us. So most of the actionable ones will be shown here. Trace flags. So I was telling you that the reason I put that trace flag, because this was never exposed before. Unless you have the access to the code, you don't know if there was trace flag hints, what trace flags affected your query, what not. So my SQL Server by default, I have turned on 3226. It has nothing to do with performance. It just says that do not log in backup information in my error log. So what this is saying that at compile time of this query, I had these two trace flags on. One was global scope, one was session scope. But is compile time false, which I already complained to Pedro Lopez, who is the program manager, that these wordings are very confusing. Is compile time true, is compile time false? They need to change this wording. What this is basically saying that, okay, compile time, these two were on, but 3226 did not affect your compilation, only 9481 did. And I know that 3226 owner would not, because this just to avoid writing some information in error log, but 9481 was affecting the cardinality estimation because I was using an older CE and purposefully just to show you that demo. So right now, going forward, this information is available to you right from your management studio. I have a slide on this. I would suggest you to look at that. It's very helpful. So if you look at here, this information was never exposed to us. And I have a demo. If you can get that, I'll show you how we can use this. I know that actual number of rows is this, but how many rows I had to read to give you this number? In this case, it's similar, but you'll see a discrepancy in many times, and that give you a hint that you need to look at some stuff. This one is right here. So the top one was released, I think, in 2016. The bottom one was released in 2016 SP1. This is very helpful, very helpful. If you can get to that demo, you will see why I say that.
Hey, Steve, there's some questions here.
Yeah, let's hold off a little bit. I'll try to find the gap. Actual IO statistics. So we always used to turn on set statistics IO on, set statistics time on. You don't need to do those. They are built in right here. And as you can see, this plan went parallel. It actually gives you per thread, how many logical reads for thread 1, thread 2, how many physical reads for thread 1, thread 2. Everything is per node, per thread. So if you see a huge discrepancy here, means your parallelism work was not distributed properly, so you need to look at some other stuff, but I'm not going to get there right now. for the sake of time. So we went through all this, and I'll give you this plan. It's a 2014 plan. And if we go here, like I was telling you, you do not see those features here, like how many rows were read. If we turn on here, properties, there is no trace flag information. There is no runtime information. None of these were available. If we look at the properties here, there's no statistics I on, statistics time on information. So this is what I did. I ran the same query in a 2014 box, and I saved this for you. So when I ship it to you, you can do the comparison by yourself. So what Microsoft did, CX packet, you can read online, those who has larger systems, your things run parallel. There's always so much misinformation about CX packet, and people like Paul Randall, Brent Ozer, they work hard to break some of these myths. So before you look at a CX packet weight, you don't know if it's actionable or not actionable. So what I mean by that, if I have a 10,000 page, 10,000 number of papers that I want to sort out, I give it to 10 of you, 1,000 each, and I tell you that you guys sort this out and give it to me. So I'm waiting for those papers. So my weight is always be a weight that you have to conquer, but you really cannot do anything because I'm waiting for my threads to sort this out and give it to me. I gave it to 10 people. So out of 10, say if 5 finish this in 10 seconds and the other 5 is still working on it, that's a problem. That means either my work is not distributed properly or they have other problems. So that's the way that we want to work on. So what Microsoft did is, and I have a link to that, you can go and read more details. The CX packet weight is now divided into CX consumer and CX packet. So CX packet means I'm the producer, and it's a consumer and producer. So one is actionable, one is not actionable. So if we want to look at that, let's change it to max.0. And I put a blog post here that really explains this very nicely. And this is the DMV I was talking about, exec session weight stats. This was released in 2016 that you can see your weight type per session. So let me recycle this session and see. So I got an ID of 59 here. I'm going to plug in 59. And we'll run this. This time I don't have any hint or anything with the trace flag. And now if we come here, we are only seeing weight for session 59. And you'll see the numbers are changing because that query is still executing. Means on this window I'm talking about. And so this is done. This is our weight. As you can see, there are 11 different weights, but look at this, CX packet and CX consumer. So whoever is the master thread or whoever is collecting and distributing the work, that weight is separated now. So this is really not actionable. And out of this 11, if we go here, this only listed the top 4, means this 4 is actionable for us. Let's put it back. Single plan analysis, this is a new thing in Management Studio. This really is not a mature feature, I would say, but they're going to add more information. Spill information, this is a huge gain, and I'll show you an example. And memory grant and max query memory, if you have memory pressure, this can help you with some figures that is exposed by Management Studio. I did put 2 links that will give you more details. I was not sure about this feature, so I put a question in dbastockexchange.com, and there are 2 answers that you can read later on. And for this one, what I did, I already ran all these queries just to save time. So first one, what I did here, AdventureWorks, I have a table variable, I did some inserts, and I did a select, right? Pretty simple. Now, if we look at the execution plan, let's see if I can, okay, good. See here the warning. It tells us how many pages were spilled to TempDB and the spill level. If you look at some older versions, and I have some pictures in the slides, this never told you how many pages were written to 10 dB, and this is same for hash spills too. This information was not exposed about the memory and the number of pages. So what that gives us, that tells us, how bad it is. If, say if you're sorting millions of pages and if a couple of hundred spill to 10 dB, yes, you still want to fix it, but is it worth for you to fix it or try to fix it, right? That's a decision that you can make. But before, you didn't have this information exposed to you. And if you see here why this happened, because my actual number of rows this, and my estimated rows are only one, right? Because it's a table variable. Many of you might know already. So what I did, the next one, I said, okay, let's do a recompile. So if you remember on this one, we spilled 1024 pages, 2452 pages. The granted memory was 1 meg. Now I said, recompile into the table variable. So let's look at the estimate now. Before it was 1. So now the estimate got a little bit bigger. Still, we are not close. So what happened here? We come to this sort. As you can see, we got more memory now, 1360, and we only spilled 26 pages instead of 2,452 pages. Improvement. Next phase, you go 7B. Of course, I got rid of table variable, temp table, created index, and if I run this now, it will run probably in 3 seconds. Now a little bit more time. Did I run the whole thing? No, okay. So it took about 8 seconds and no spill. And now if we come here, as you can see that our estimated time, number of rows and actual number of rows is pretty similar. It took 8 seconds here, and at the beginning it took 28 seconds. So just based on the information exposed to the management studio, we can really do some troubleshooting, some tuning right here. Optimizer stats. This is very recently exposed to Management Studio. So what it does, I copied this code from GitHub. I also put the link here, just so if you want to test it by yourself, you can do it. So I'm just going to, these are set up. I'll run this as is, just to save time. I'm not going to explain this. They're pretty self-explanatory. Now, if we run this stir procedure with this, and it looks pretty good, right? Index it, select, really nothing alarming. Ran pretty quick. But look at here. We did estimate 20,000, and it's only 100 rows. Now somebody might say, okay, we estimated more. What's the big deal? The big deal is now you ask for more memory, you ask for more resource, which you're not using. That's why you don't want to go other way also. And this is a new feature also. There's a new management function, DMF, that you can use. So look at the histogram directly. And we can see here that for this object ID, which is a range height is 0, our equal row was 19773. That's where we get the stats from. But even if you don't want to do that, if we run this again, this is actually exposed in Management Studio. If you come here, it tells you we use this stat, sampling percent 100, but we also modified 19,873 records since you updated your stats. And that's why we are getting that discrepancy. So these information were never exposed to Management Studio before. This is pretty new, which is to me is a big deal if you're if you're tuning query, looking at your stats and the status of your stats. And now if we update our stats and run this, as you can see here now, estimated number and actual number is same. And if we look at this, what this telling me is since my last stats update, there were 0 rows were modified, and also it gives me when was my stat last modified, what is the percentage. All this information, I'm not saying is anything new. You could definitely get to it in different way, but now I don't have to do anything. It's all in here for me. It's just more convenience. Searching show plan. So there is a new event in extended event trace that you can trace per operator. And I also put a link here, so I'm not going to explain how this is done. You can read about that, but we'll just run this trace just to show you, just to make a point later on. So this session is this one. I'm going to start this session and I'm going to watch live data. Now, this is a query. If I run, now we should start seeing some stuff here. So now look at this plan. How difficult it is for us to find an index, find an object that we know is causing problem. It's not that simple, right? I know you can go to turn right, you can right click, say give me the XML, and you can do a Control F and all that. But what you can do now, let's stop this. I'll just give you a quick example. Say my estimated rows, right? This was the max for estimated rows. I want to see which node or which operator in my actual plan has this estimated rows 19972. I'm just picking an example. You can search for many things and we'll look at this. So I come here, I'm doing a Control F, this shows up, I go down and you can search by all of these criteria. It's a huge list. It's a huge list. So if we come here, we say estimate row, and I believe the number we say is 19972. So this is the one. And is there any more? Yep, there's 2, 3. So these 3 node has estimated rows 19972. Just to confirm, right here. I think I think it's a good feature. It will just make our life a lot easier. I talked about this, and there is a trick here too. If you did not have this on actual plan, you can actually go and take this plan hash number, and I have this query at the bottom. You can plug it in here, and you can retrieve this plan from the cache if you need to. This is the last one. And I don't want to go into a full explanation of residual predicate. So normally there are 2 predicates. One is a seek predicate, one is residual predicate. Just to give you a quick example, if I'm saying give me all the last name that start with P but they live in Boston, and if I don't have the proper indexing, what it's going to do is going to go and find all the people with P, start with P, last name. They will get them, and they will start looking one by one in a column that their residence. So they'll try to find out who lives in Boston. And sometimes just by looking at the query plan, people can miss that. So if we look at this again, we come here, we see the index sig, and we see a select, pretty good, right? But now, as I was telling you before, why I am excited with this number of rows read, now I can see that to give me 32 rows, this query had to read 920 rows, right? So unless I look at details, it's really not exposed to us, right? Just by looking at the plan. And what basically this did, and there is a chase flag 9430, and you really don't need that anymore, and I'll show you why. Behind the scene, there was actually a filter predicate, a filter operation. So it was taking 920 rows and then filtering and then was sending you 32. But from this, there is no way for you to tell that there's a filtering going on unless you see here. And some people are familiar with what this means, and that's actually exactly what it's saying that filter operation is referring to. And yeah, so now I fixed the index. If we run this again now, I'm only reading 32 rows to produce 32 rows. We still have 5 minutes. I'm just going to finish the slides and then we can take 1 or 2 questions. But Paresh is going to send me all the questions. These are some resources that I put in. If you see this on all articles with show plan tag, what Pedro's, the Tiger team, what they did is they put all these URLs into one page. That's why I didn't list all. Once you go there, you will see everyone. And these are my contacts. You will get this. And this is what I was talking about, additional slides. So from here, next 25 slides, everyone is all the features that I talked about. So if somebody doesn't want to run demo, they just want to look at it, look at more pictures, you will see this. I did skip one of the features that you will see in the list that is called compare show plan. And I did skip that purposely, but there is a demo slide and there is also some notes in one of my demo queries. So compare show plan was available in 2012, but you had to save both plan and then you had to bring up to compare. Now you can have a live query, a live like an actual execution plan. You can right click and you can say, I want to compare from a saved. And they also did some enhancement how the comparison works. There are a couple of options you can turn on and off. So with that, I'll ask Paresh to send questions. We have 3 minutes.
Hey, they're awesome, man. I really learned a lot myself too. So, of course, everybody's like, excellent conference, excellent presentation. Thank you. So, here's a couple of things that came out. The reports available in SSMS when looking at the Azure SQL Server is limited. Only 2 reports. Can some of the reports available when looking at a local server be exported and added to custom reports for an Azure SQL instance? That's from Bill.
I don't know. So if it's a I know Azure managed instance is now in public preview. That will definitely work. If you are at IIS model, definitely will work. But if it's just Azure SQL database, I don't know, because I'm really not sure if some of the information are saved into MSDB or other system databases. In that case, they won't work, because when you go into Azure SQL database, you really don't have those system databases exposed to you, the whole stack.
So the other question is, how did you run the vulnerability assessment? And the other one was, is the duration in milliseconds or microseconds?
Okay, good question. So if you go to my blog, sqlworldwide.com, because somebody had this question um, in, so let me quickly, I did not want to advertise my blog here, but this, I knew this might come up. So Microsoft still could not figure out um, this microsecond and millisecond. This is all mixed up. That's why I don't mention it, because I wrote a blog post because there was a question in stackexchange.com about this. So I put a query. If you look at this picture, and I don't know if I can increase it, the bunch of still millisecond, bunch of microsecond, bunch you don't know unless you run it and figure it out by yourself. But I have a query that you can run and it will give you which duration is in millisecond, which one is microsecond. And the other question was how to run vulnerability assessment. You go to your database, right click, task, vulnerability assessment, scan for vulnerabilities. And this is part database. Okay,
Awesome.
Paresh, we'll take the last one and you can send me all the
I
questions
think we don't
with
have
the
any more.
names.
I don't believe
Okay,
anymore. So I think you've done an awesome job. Otherwise, by now we would have 1,000 more questions. But beautiful. Thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow, Toib. And
yeah, thank you. And for the attendees, if you have any question, please send it to my way, tweet, email, everything works.
sure.
And I will definitely get back to you one-on-one.
And people do tweet about the presentation, tweet about Toib's talk. Definitely, it goes a long way in encouraging what we do for the community. Okay. So thank you, and have a pleasant Valentine's Day, guys. Bye.
Thanks.